Good morning, all of you, and thank you, Rupali and Dr. Swami, Professor Uwe. This is now my third edition with you, and the platform is expanding. And thank you for these efforts to build a broader understanding about India. We could think of why India and why at this stage, why now? So, of course, it's a very large economy, the largest population, which means everything that is involved: market, opportunities, innovation, talent pool. But it's also an open democracy, and of that size, which is quite unique. And there is real transformation going on at this stage in India. So you have the scale, the speed, and an open context. So all these things are coming together, and that is why we are asking you to engage India and engage now. So like I said, why should Sweden be interested in engaging India? Sweden, of course, is a very, very external-oriented economy and nation. So if you look at the collective economic future in terms of the scale and speed of the changes that is going on, if you see the talent pool that has to come in to achieve many of the things that all countries, all economies have to do, and if you see all the global challenges that are there, from climate change to peace and security to pandemic, whatever India is doing or is able to do has implications globally. Of course, it is the fifth largest economy now, and within this has changed very, very rapidly. Only 10 years ago, India used to be the 11th largest, and within 5 years, within 10 years, it is now the fifth largest, and estimates are that it is very soon going to be the third largest. So that shows you the speed of the change that is taking place. Of course, 1/6 of the global population. And it is estimated that going forward in the next 5 years, 13% of the global economic growth will come from India. If you look at the data and demographic dividend, in the sense of the scale of data required for any sector of economy today, and also the young talent pool of that size is only available in India now. And there is a big digital and green transition going on. So again, a lot of opportunities. If we just look at rankings on innovation, within the last 7 years, India has jumped more than 40 places. And you're aware that it's now the third largest ecosystem for startups, starting almost from nowhere. Much of the things that are going on, big-scale economic reforms that were badly needed, a complete infrastructure upgrade, and the digital and the green transition. What is happening is that because of the digital transformation, the economy is being transformed from a cashless to cash-based, from cash-based to cashless, online from offline, and a very formal from an informal economy earlier. So all that means that it's much easier to do business in India. If we see the infrastructure, again, the scale of what is being achieved is very, very big. 11,000 kilometers of highways being built. Recently, there were reports about more than 100 kilometers of highways being built in 100 hours. Railways, for example, 4,500 route kilometers built every year, which is roughly what you have in Austria or Switzerland. Airports, again, massive numbers. Ports, again, big investment going into all this infrastructure thing. And this is really the basis for the economic transformation that is going on. If you look at the digital transformation, the model that has come up in India is very different from what we have seen in other parts of the world, whereas the so-called public infrastructure in terms of digital sphere has been built by the government. So it's built as a public good, and it is an open source platform. So whether it is the digital identity for all the 1.3, 1.4 billion Indians, the documentation in terms of digital documentation sharing, and the digital payments. So all these have been built, these layers have been built for the so-called iStack by the government. And then since it is an open source, the private sector can build their own applications on it. So it is checking many, many boxes in terms of e-governance, efficiency, transparency, and also competitiveness, because it allows free competition. And so you are seeing a boom in terms of fintech, edutech, and all the other basic sectors. And now this will go on to credit and loans and e-commerce on these open platforms. So larger startup ecosystem, a young population, which is for the next 2 to 3 decades, 25 to 30 years, it is estimated that it'll be a very young working population, and the scale of that is not available elsewhere. Again, all the economic growth forecasts are quite positive at this stage. This is some just trying to show the exponential graph that is being witnessed in the various sectors in India. So smartphones are almost everywhere, and the cost of mobile data has really crashed. Can we have the volume, please?
And the IMF says that India has one of the fastest growth rates of digital payments of any nation in the world. But just a few years ago, India's financial landscape looked completely different.
Most of the transactions used to happen in cash. So cash was king. Only a small subset of merchants had point of purchase machines. So if you landed in India today, you'd see the ubiquitous QR code, even the chai wala on the street brandishing the QR codes.
Real-time payment systems are revolutionizing the financial landscape. And India is at forefront, with highest number of real-time digital payment transactions in the world. India's Unified Payment Interface, or UPI, is at the core of this transformation. With UPI, anyone can make payment through a mobile phone. Government benefits and subsidies are directly transferred to the accounts of the beneficiaries through Aadhaar payment bridge system. All citizens can now pay their bills through Bharat Bill payment system. And even low-cost mobile phone users can receive cashless payments UPI. Singapore is the first country with which India has the real-time cross-border remittance corridor. In UAE, Bhutan and Singapore, UPI is already accepted at merchant locations.
This mentions Singapore, UAE and Bhutan, but now there are many other countries who are also have joined this, and increasingly the interoperability and the availability of these platforms will be in many more countries. If we look at what has been achieved in very recent past in terms of the pandemic, which was not so long ago, again, the Indian ecosystem was able to show the scale at which it can operate in getting the vaccines made or in getting the vaccination done.
$25 million vaccinations in a single day, 1 billion doses in 10 months, and now 2 billion doses. 4 vaccines in use for adults, 2 for children. India launched its COVID vaccination drive on the 16th of January 2021, and since then has progressively expanded coverage to protect more and more people against the biggest public health threat in living memory. Vaccination coverage at such a scale would not have been possible in record time without the collaborative efforts of the Government of India, state and union territory governments, scientists, vaccine manufacturers, partner agencies, and the country's highly motivated health workforce. I congratulate India's leadership, health workforce, and citizens for the success of the vaccination drive. India's pandemic response has moved forward in the true spirit of Jan Andolan, or people's movement. Every citizen felt included. Everybody played their part. Everyone's query was addressed, and rumors and fears were identified and dispelled. WHO is privileged to continue supporting the Government of India's COVID response. India has also demonstrated exemplary leadership in providing COVID-19 vaccines for distribution to low and middle income countries to support the global fight to end the pandemic. Vasudeva Kutumbakam. The world is one family. No one is safe till everyone is safe. India has demonstrated how we can move forward as one world. A prepared India is a prepared world.
Well, I think this showed that even at a very, very difficult and challenging time for not only the world, but also for India, the ecosystem was able to pull together and achieve something which was looking extremely difficult, extremely challenging. So within 18 months, more than 2 billion doses of vaccines were administered across India. And now, of course, the figure for the vaccines that were made in India and went out was almost 250 million, sent to over 100 countries under various programs, including grants. For a long time, infrastructure and the manufacturing has been a difficult area in India, but now much is changing.
दुनिया का हाईएस्ट रेलवे
So although this is in Hindi,
The
but I think the
Chenab
visuals
Bridge.
will tell.
1315 मीटर लंबा, नदी के तल से 359 मीटर की ऊंचाई पर बना और 467 मीटर के आर्च से सजा ये पुल आईफिल टावर और स्टैच्यू ऑफ यूनिटी जैसी इमारतों से भी ऊंचा है.
Project has set a benchmark in both in terms of quality and engineering.
तो चलिए मनाली से लेह को जोड़ती इस टनल की सैर पर चलते हैं. मॉडर्न इंजीनियरिंग का एक ऐसा अजूबा जो दुनिया में और कहीं नहीं है. सुरक्षा के सारे इंतजामों पर बारीकी से नजर रखता ये मास्टर कंट्रोल रूम भी है.
Mumbai Trans Harbour Link is being built at a cost of over $2 billion. The MTHL, after completion, will cater to around 70,000 vehicles.
India's financial capital city, Mumbai, is waterlogged on 3 sides, making connectivity an absolute necessity. And to improve this, the longest sea bridge in India is set to open soon in Mumbai. It is also the 12th longest sea bridge in the world. It has been claimed that the Mumbai Trans Harbour Link will change the way people commute in the city. The total length is about 21.8 kilometers, sea length is about 16.5 kilometers, and land length about 5.5 kilometers. The bridge will begin in Sauri, South Mumbai. It will cross the Thani Creek north of Elephanta Island and will terminate at Chile near Nava Sheva. It will be a 6-lane bridge and would cater to 70,000 vehicles daily. The proposed vehicle speed will be 100 km per hour, thanks to the open tolling system where vehicles would not have to stop on the bridge for paying toll.
Vande Bharat has been completely indigenously manufactured and attains speed of 160 kilometers in 145 seconds.
If we look at the scientific field, whether it is polar research or nuclear or space research, again, a lot of work is going on. We are looking at human space mission possibly next year. Deep ocean mission also is underway. And India is participating in almost all the mega science international projects, with Indian companies contributing to a lot of the construction in various mega science projects. Space, defense, geospatial sectors have all been opened up, and numerous space tech startups have already started building rockets and satellites and other applications. All this manufacturing and changes are now taking place in an environment when you need to do it much more in a climate-friendly manner. And again, very, very massive efforts are underway on this, from solar to wind to many other sectors. Very, very ambitious targets are being set up and being achieved. According to this study, both Sweden and India are among the countries who are on the way to achieving good progress. If we also look at the bigger picture in terms of various global challenges, whether it is peacekeeping or humanitarian affairs, again, India is very, very active at the global level. Or if we see the development partnership, so not only bilaterally, but we are doing it with the UN, with Brazil and South Africa and many other partner countries in a trilateral fashion also. So India has also the platforms with Africa, with Caribbean community and Pacific Islands, where India engages very, very closely with all these partner nations. India is also currently, as you know, the G20 presidency, but we are taking the concerns of the so-called Global South to that platform. In terms of many international initiatives, especially on the climate change, where India is very actively engaged, is of course the Solar Alliance, but also the Leadership Group on Industry Transition, Lead IT, where now, when this was started in 2019, and we already, by India and Sweden, and we already have 36 partners. I see Per Arne here, the head of the Secretariat for Lead IT. And it's encouraging various big companies in the hard-to-abate sectors to commit to net zero targets and then see what financial and technological solutions can be shared. If we quickly have a look at the India-Sweden context, the business environment looks good. There's a number of companies from either side that are engaging with each other is growing very fast. In the last 6 months alone, for example, there have been several business delegations.
And energizing its partnership with India is a priority in this upcoming decade. Both our regions are driving forces in the digital revolution. And as like-minded partners, the European Union and India will be working on several tracks. We have launched negotiations on a free trade agreement, as well as on investment protection and geographical indications. For Europe, this is a strategic investment in our partnership with India. India and the European Union are closely aligned in the fight against climate change and of course have understood how precious solar energy is. Both India and the European Union have embarked on their way to net zero. We are the two largest democracies in the world. And together, we have a lot to give for the benefit of the people.
There was mention made of the FTA negotiations, but we also have just now started the Trade and Technology Council, which EU only has with the US as the other partner. The TTC refers to the whole global context, and the need for rules-based approaches to trade, technology, and innovation based on democratic principles, and the talent pool that is available. The first ministerial meeting was held last month. These are some of the sectors that it looks at, and if you see what highlighted is the trustworthy AI, strategic semiconductor sector, and interoperability. A similar thing is now started in the India-US context, which is the initiative on critical and emerging technologies, and the first meeting between the national security advisors took place very recently, and all these similar technology areas were mentioned, including defense and space. Last week, Prime Minister Modi was in US, and the joint statement talks about technology partnership, next generation defense partnership, clean energy, and strategic convergence. I'm mentioning these to show the context in which the world is seeing India at this stage. So these are some of the new frameworks that have become active, both Quad and I2U2. If you look at Nordic context, Sweden hosted the first India-Nordic Summit in 2018, and last year we had the second summit in Copenhagen. A month ago, our External Affairs Minister was here for the EU Indo-Pacific Ministerial. Again, if we see the last 6 months alone, so many ministerial engagements have taken place, both visits from India to Sweden and from Sweden to India.
India is a country on the move, where exciting things are happening. The relationship between India and Sweden is stronger than ever, and the innovation partnership has really become a cornerstone of our bilateral collaboration. It is a vehicle for co-creation and co-development, aiming to solve big challenges in areas such as green transition, clean energy, health, and transportation. India has the speed, the scale, and the talent pool of the world's largest democracy. India is also rapidly becoming an innovation powerhouse, climbing from rank 81 to rank 40 in the Global Innovation Index in just a few years. When we combine the strengths of Indian and Swedish innovation systems, we can create breakthrough solutions that benefit our economies, while also helping us reach the Sustainable Development Goals and the Paris Agreement. More than 50,000 people of Indian descent live in Sweden. They actively contribute to our society, many in the field of innovation. We should therefore explore how we can strengthen the human dimension of innovation, not least by encouraging mobility for talented innovators and researchers. India has become a booming startup country with more than 100 unicorn companies in 2022. India is a highly prioritized and important partner for my government, and we will continue to invest in and develop this relationship in the years to come.
I also think of the constructive ways that our relationship has impacted the world. India raised the profile of the first UN conference on climate, held in Stockholm in 1972, and ensured its success. Today we are leading the way as the co-chairs of Lead It, the leadership group for industry transition, as we led public and private sector to achieve net zero emissions. Indeed, in recent years, our partnership has intensified with state visits in 2015 and 2019 and regular and close cooperation between our prime ministers. Contact has been maintained during the pandemic with virtual ministerial interactions, signings of memoranda of understanding, and everyday cooperation in innovation, health, and energy, to name a few areas. We look forward to developing the EU's focus on India. This is testament to the importance India carries for Sweden, which will only increase as the Indian economy grows and exchange between our countries continue.
And Sweden are so very close in minds. And we have had diplomatic relations. We have companies, 260 of them, many of them who have been here for 100 years. We have been here for, as they say, the long haul. And we intend to remain here because we can see that there is so much cooperation going on with Indian IT engineers going to Sweden, with Swedish companies being present here in India, and we would like to expand that.
The great Indo-Swedish potential, so that our close partnership can deliver more sustainable growth, jobs, and innovation over the next 25 years. And during my visit in December, we further advanced this goal through signing the most comprehensive Indo-Swedish Joint Commission protocol yet. Internationally, through our parallel presidencies of the European Union and the G20, we are also taking on important global responsibilities. For Sweden, it is of course an opportunity to push for closer EU-India relations, including a free trade agreement and a trade and technology council. I would also like to take this opportunity to move beyond trade figures, even though I am an economist, and consider what money can't buy: our unique people-to-people connection.
I think on that note, I'll end this presentation. I'm sorry it has been a bit long, but I thought it was important to see somewhat broader context. So thank you for your patience. Thank you.